Tried to get into a spot where the wind isn't going to be too bad. I'm going to try this video here. If it doesn't work, go back home and do it inside. But I wanted to be out here to do it. Today, we're talking about the linkage between prison sex, schism, and culling voices. So, we start with prison sex. It's a song about the discipleship of abuse. And abuse is a discipleship. It even says so in the songs. Not only is there religious imagery, I've got my hands bound in prayer, I've got my head down, bowed in prayer, and I've got my eyes closed. Definitely religious imagery and a hint of religious abuse. The discipleship of abuse through religious practice. That all abuse, all forms of abuse are discipleship. I do unto others what has been done to me. I do unto others what has been done to you. So, let's say I know a man who was verbally, emotionally, and psychologically abused as a child by, let's say, his stepfather. And although his mother would nurture him after these episodes of abuse, she still allowed it to happen. So this man grew up, he was never able to let anyone in, he was never able to be in a relationship because he would become incredibly abusive and rageful himself. So he stayed alone. He stayed inside of himself and he never healed. And then his mother got old, so old that he had to move in with her to take care of her. And let's say that he then becomes verbally, emotionally, and psychologically abusive to her in the same way that he had endured. So I do unto others what has been done to me. And he loves his mom. And there's nothing he wouldn't do for her, but he cannot control his rage. And he cannot keep himself from abusing her. And there's this mental blockage that doesn't allow him to comprehend the fact that he's being abusive. And this is how this thing gets passed on. And this is how the schism happens, because we can't communicate. We can't communicate. Well, we can't communicate for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons we can't communicate is we can't get past our own delusions and our own mental blockages, and we can't see who we really are from the outside, inside. The schism isn't just a breakup song. It's a song about anything being torn asunder, any relationship, God and Satan. It's the other. It's you and the other. And because of the abuse that we have suffered, see, when we suffer that kind of abuse, especially at such a young age, it becomes a template, a programming in our minds for how we relate to other people. So anyone who suffered abuse at any time between the ages of 0 and 8 years old definitely is going to have a very hard time relating and communicating with other people because they got a fucked up template on how to do that. Culling voices. Disembodied voices. So, disembodied. These aren't actually his consciousness. These are the voices in this template. Deepen my suspicious tendencies. You know, the people we were supposed to trust and rely on the most hurt us. So now we're suspicious of everyone. Anyone who we let in. Conversations we've never had imagined. Interplay. Like, you ever fight with someone in your mind and say all the things you want to say to them? And like you imagine what they would say back or how they would react? Psychopathy. And this template, this psychopathy misleading me over and over and over. And even though the example I gave is not me, I suffered my own abuses in my life. I have my own fucked up template, and I keep schisming with the people I love, the people I let in. This is really about fear and resentment. So what's the antidote? There are two. One, the grudge, let it go. But when you do finally let it go, when you finally release the resentment, it turns into gold. That is the spiritual awakening of coming out of the bottom. I know the pieces fit. The other, fear, well, the antidote to that is very clear. Fear inoculum. And the rest of that album, it gets deeper and deeper, but, you know, Invincible and Descending are two very important songs. And Invincible, we are reminded that we don't have to be afraid because we're fucking invincible. All this pain is illusion. Parabola. See what I did there? The grudge, and fear inoculum. And then Descending, stay alive. Keep, and not just in keeping your body alive, but stay alive. Keep love alive. Keep your consciousness alive. Keep your principles alive. Keep your purpose and your destiny alive. And it's a plea. And then the Tempest. Schism Part 2, some people call it. Definitely some of the grudge going on in that too. The Tempest must be just that. And this whole calling voices thing, I'm suspicious of everybody else, but really I'm the Tempest. I'm the one I should be suspicious of. I should be suspicious of my thinking and my feelings when the schism starts to happen. I've come around full circle. Yeah. Put that in your DMT pipe and smoke it.